What's going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome, and happy Saturday. My name is Jason. You are watching Redfish Bluefish. And I'm here at one of my beautiful planted tanks. Very happy with it. And I was starting to show this little live stream by giving this little fellow in the back a cameo. I don't know if you can see him. Where's he hiding now? Oh, he's up there. See this little dude? This is the spotted Gara, or the Gara spilota. Got a tank full of them. I am giving him the opening shot of this show because this little guy, this one little fish, has done a fantastic job of cleaning up this tank. We had some diatoms going. You know, when diatoms get started, they almost always affect, especially broad leaves, really broad leaves of plants. You can see a little bit of trace here and there what was going on, but pretty much, this little guy did an amazing job of cleaning all this stuff up. Hey, Jay Oliver's Guppies and Aquatics. Appreciate you stopping by, buddy. Recently subscribed, or I don't know if subscribed or joined a pretty cool Facebook group over at Jay Oliver's Guppies and More. You guys might want to do a little search-a-rooney on Facebook to see if you can find Jay Oliver's Guppies and More. It's a pretty decent discussion forum. Some pretty overly heated people there from time to time. But guppy people can be a little bit, maybe too passionate sometimes. That's fine. That's fine. It's a pretty cool Facebook group with a lot of info. Anyway, let's get back to this guy, the star of the first part of the show. These spotted Garas are from Burma, Myanmar, if you prefer. It depends on if it's written or you're speaking it. Myanmar is one form, Burma is another, and they have their proper places. We could argue an hour about that. Anyway, this little guy has done such a fantastic job of cleaning all of these swords up. This red flame sword. Yeah, guppy people can definitely be that way. So can mods over at guppy Facebook groups. And I don't mean Jay Oliver. Got a mod there that's little not nice sometimes. That's all right. Mods can have bad days too. Anyway, I wanted to give you guys a little look at, now for some reason, you see this here? This caca de la pupu? He doesn't like cleaning over here at all. Something about, there's no current or anything, and I'm like, why doesn't he like cleaning over here? Over there, you could perform a surgery on that glass. Look at that. Really clean. And you see, he likes hanging out over there. But over here, Negatron. For some reason, for some weird reason I meant to say, and it came out of some wheezin', I'm very worried. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm gonna have to manually clean that because this Gara, he does not like cleaning over there. Anyway, enough of the Gara. Just a little update, guys. I'm got this tank squared away. We basically sold a ton of plants out of here, and we had some unsold plants, and they weren't up to my standards. So we went on ahead and did a full empty out. We did a massive water change. We cleaned up a few dead leaves and what have you here on the bottom, because that is definitely an algae magnet. Dead leaves, dead vegetation, you are guaranteed, if you don't get it out of there, faux show, you are gonna get algae. I'm gonna show you this next tank. Been doing some work in here too. We introduced a whole ton of Amano shrimp in here. I don't know where they are. Typical Amanos, they're hiding. We had some pretty decent filamentous algae going in here. We still got a little bit of it. For instance, let me see if I can find a little bit of it. Look around. There's a wee touch of it here. You see this little tiny bit here, little thread? That's fine. I don't even mess with it when it's that little tiny small amount. It's best to let it kind of accumulate and get a little bit longer, and then you can grab it and get the whole thing out. There won't even be any roots remaining. That's the one kind of drawback about Amanos. They love algae eating, grazing, but if it's filamentous but really short, like it's some kind of really short hair type algae, monos will definitely snack on it, faux show. But if it's long, they usually avoid it. You see like stuff like this, see this little leaf? It melted, no problem. Take it off. See, dead, get it out of there. That's algae waiting to happen, man. Anyway. Just kind of going off on tangent, showing you guys some stuff. I want to talk to you guys this probably less than an hour about a couple of the most common complaints that I'm getting from customers coming in. Of course, I won't name any customers, anything like that, but I did want to share. I'm actually scrolling up in chat while I show you guys some fish and aquariums, seeing if I missed anything. Oh, look at that. We got a hashtag catfish raid. Well, thank you, Terry. I really appreciate you sending people over. Nice. Looks like I got 33 people in here, 34, and 13 thumbs. That's really cool. Appreciate it, guys. All right. Looks like we're good to go. I am going to flip the camera around. We're going to get started with our discussion. There he is. Boy, my hair is just so lovely today. So lovely. I feel so pretty. Anyway, guys, I wanted to have a little bit of a chat. We probably won't do a super long live stream today. And I'll probably pace around while I talk, as I want to do. I want to discuss, several of the, I would say, number 1, number 2, maybe even number 3 complaints that I've gotten so far from customers coming in. And they're connected. They're definitely connected. So easily, the number 1 complaint that I get from people coming into this shop, we're known as kind of a rare and uncommon fish importer / Planet Tank kind of aquascaping boutique kind of shop. So a lot of the complaints that I get from people coming in, and easily the number 1 complaint is algae. I'm getting algae. I'm getting algae problems, BBA, green dust algae, diatom. A lot of customers don't really know what kind of algae it is, and I've spoken about it on my live streams before. Perhaps out of all the freshwater aquatic plants, and algae is a plant, that exist, we know very little about algae. We don't understand all of its reproduction, how a lot of that works, that sort of thing. So easily the number 1 complaint is, I'm having algae problems. What do I do? Well, you guys know that the answer to that is very complex. You have to ask a lot of questions to get to the bottom. What you do to get rid of algae is you address the root concern of the algae. Okay, that's the number 1 complaint, algae. I'm getting algae, and we're going to go back to that. The number 2 complaint is very, very closely related. In fact, it walks hand in hand at all times with I'm getting algae, and that is this: my plants aren't growing. My plants don't grow. They're just they stunt out. They're covered in this spiky black stuff, maybe some kind of moss. And I'm like, no, it's not moss. That's easily the second most common complaint that I get. And actually, I'm going to walk out of the shop, get some fresh air. How nice. Maybe I'll flip the camera around and give you guys who are homebound right now. Maybe you can't get out. Give you some a few views, a few shots of the beauty here at Green Bank Farm. The sky is blue. It's about 60 degrees outside. The birds are singing. It's gorgeous. Check it out, guys. And I'll continue talking. Pretty nice. But anyway. Like I said, the first most common complaint is I'm getting algae. The second most common complaint is easily that my plants aren't growing, and they're totally related. Absolutely they are. And let's talk about that. I want to discuss that this hour. So, your plants aren't growing, or you're getting algae. Number 1 complaint, I'm getting algae. Number 2 complaint, my plants aren't growing. They are definitely related. Let's talk about some reasons why you could be getting algae. We'll go through the list. The number one common reason why people are getting algae, and I ask questions and people answer honestly, lack of maintenance. Lack of aquarium tank water maintenance, right? There's a lot of different opinions on the subject, and it drifts depending on how many fish you have in, what kind of fish, what kind of substrate method you're using, but by and large, almost all fish keepers would agree that you need to do some form of weekly water change. Yes, I get it. Some people are running deep sand substrates, and you've got an anaerobic bed that's, eating up nitrogen, free nitrogen, nitrite, nitrate, all that. That's fine. Fine if you're doing that. We're not speaking about those people. We're speaking about probably more than the 99% out there that aren't running some kind of deep sand substrate or, more advanced system, I guess you could say. We're just talking about regular aquarists. The number one reason that I come across people having algae problems is lack of maintenance. Chief among them, refusal to do water changes. I tell everybody at a minimum, if you just have a little 10-gallon aquarium with no plants in it, no live plants, well, first of all, I'm sad to hear that because live plants are wonderful. But that's okay, I get it. People have to start out somewhere. You got plastic plants, that's fine. Maybe you got one of those treasure chests that open and close with bubbles and there's a little skeleton pirate, that's fine. But if you have one of those tanks, most aquarists would say at a minimum, you should be doing a 10% water change every week. That means throw away 10% of the water, replace it with good water. Whether it's dechlorinated tap water, you're using whatever you have in your area, irrelevant for the purposes of this discussion. So the number one cause is lack of aquarium maintenance, especially water changing. Number two, and this is gonna be obvious, having way too much light in the aquarium, whether it's artificial light, man-made light. Maybe you went crazy one day and you went out and you bought 2 or 3 of these beasts. Maybe you got crazy one day and you're like, you know what? I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get 2 twin stars and I'm gonna crank them up right on top of this aquarium and see what happens. Well, I'll tell you what's gonna happen. You're gonna have a box of algae in no time flat. That's way too much light. That's the number 2 cause that I've come across, causes of algae problems. I mean, we're talking like consistent algae problems that have been going on for 3-4 years. I have customers that come in and say, like once every several weeks, I literally have to take like a putty knife or a straight razor to the inside of my aquarium and it comes off in goo and it's been like that since the beginning. So the number 2 obvious, cause is way too much light. And artificial light isn't the only cause, guys. You have to pay attention to natural light that's coming in through windows. Now you would be very surprised to know that even not direct light hitting an aquarium, but light that's coming through a window, perhaps it's being diffused through some white curtains, some kind of semi-sheer curtains, something like that. That light doesn't directly have to be hitting an aquarium for it to have a major effect on that aquarium. Sunlight is very, very powerful compared to artificial man-made light. It's very powerful indeed. So something to, let me stammer there for a minute, something to not lose sight of is that often we set up our aquariums in places that weren't the best idea, and sometimes it's necessary to drain them and move them, because if you don't, you're going to be fighting those algae problems forever and ever, amen. You will. Now, I'm gonna talk about something that most people are very surprised to hear. The number 3, and perhaps number 2, sometimes number 1, reason why people are getting consistent algae problems in their aquariums, especially when they have live plants, and this, in fact, exclusively when they have live plants. I should have said that. When people have live plants, they're constantly getting algae in their aquariums. Sometimes it's not too much light. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not that there's ambient, non-direct, diffused, if you prefer, sunlight hitting the aquarium. Sometimes that's not the issue. Often, the issue is lack of nutrition. Lack of nutrition for your aquarium, for your plants. Let's talk about algae, okay? Let's do a little bit of thought experiment with me. And this is for people who basically aren't like super duper planted tank people like Alexander Williamson, myself, Bentley Pascoe for sure. Let's do a little bit of a thought experiment. Let's say that you get an aquarium, right? An aquarium. And you fill it with water. There's no gravel in it. There's no sand in it. There's nothing in it. Literally, there is dechlorinated water. You get tap water, you fill up the aquarium, you add some dechlorinator while the water's in the aquarium, it's dechlorinated. You turn on the light, 7 hours a day, you turn it off. What is going to be in that aquarium in 30 days? What? Well, for sure you're gonna have diatoms because that's just a normal, part of cycling an aquarium. What else is gonna be in that aquarium? Green dust algae. There's probably gonna be some beginnings of some staghorn algae, right? You haven't done any water changes, you just left it alone. You haven't added fish food, you haven't added fish, you haven't put anything in it. It's just dechlorinated water, right? And everybody kind of thinks, well, dechlorinated water, it's safe, we can drink it. Well, dechlorinated water does not kill algae, nor does it affect algal spores whatsoever. So after 30 days of being in your aquarium, you're not doing anything. You haven't added any fertilizer. There's no nutrition whatsoever in that aquarium that you have added. But in 30 days, well, actually below 30 days, you're gonna start getting diatom, which is that brown kind of yucky stuff on the glass. It definitely loves developing on gravel. A lot of people have different slang terms for it that usually include the word gravel. You're also gonna have the beginnings of some green dust algae, as well as some staghorn algae, both of which are photosynthetic algae, right? Well, how do they develop? You have not been putting any kind of nutrition whatsoever in your soil or in your aquarium or whatsoever. It's just a glass box of water at this point. There's a prime example proving to you, I know you guys have had this happen, algae does not need fertilizer or water column nutrition or anything like that to survive. In fact, to start thriving, perhaps not thrive, but certainly start reproducing in your aquarium. In fact, algae needs very little light. I have had more than my share of green dust algae infestations in fairly low light tanks. Algae is a real survivor. Now, why did I start talking about that? Well, to try to illustrate for you that algae does not need water column fertilization or root tabs or any kind of plant nutrition to establish itself in your aquarium. It doesn't. It simply doesn't. It's built to take a licking, keep on ticking, all right? It is going to find its way into your aquarium. Make your mind up to it. It's going to happen. Now, one of the reasons why algae, green dust algae, staghorn algae, whatever filamentous, nasty stuff that's been driving you crazy, one of the reasons why it can be exacerbated, in fact, it will be exacerbated, by you not fertilizing your water column for your plants. Well, that's because plants have long evolved right alongside a lot of competing organisms. Numerous kinds of algae are out to defeat plants and to grow on them and to kill them, basically, and to grow on their carcasses and use it as sustenance wherever they can. We see BBA do this all the time on swords, especially Anubias. Algae is always there and it's always present. So plants have long ago evolved to have the ability under the right conditions to outcompete algae. Indeed, that's what you're doing when you're using water column fertilization and proper plant nutrition. You're giving your plants the ability to outcompete that algae, which, remember, is there no matter what you do because it spreads in the air. Many people have asked me, how the heck did algae get in my tank? This is a brand new tank. I haven't put anything in it yet. And I always go, the air. How do we get sick from the flu? Well, people cough, droplets come out on the air and we pick it up. Well, so, that's how algae spreads via spores and fragmentation. Fragmentation is a very effective way for algae to spread. So I wanted to touch on that. Without properly providing your plants with nutrition and light and proper light, I didn't say too much nutrition. Don't overfeed them. Don't overdose any kind of fertilizer ever, because that can spike algae. algae will take advantage of an excess of nutrients. Remember what I said, algae is always looking to survive, and it'll use anything it can to do that. Now, proper water column fertilization and substrate fertilization will not give algae any kind of edge. In fact, it gives your plants the edge. So a big mistake when you have a planted tank and you're doing water column fertilization and all that, you get a little bit of an algae pop, clean it, maintain your aquarium. Do not cut back on your water column fertilization or any of your nutrition. If you do that, you're doing the opposite of what you wanted to do. Now you're taking away the plant's competitive edge it has against algae. And I get it. I get it why people think this way, because it is very, very true that if you overdose like an all-in-one fertilizer, I don't know, maybe it's Tropica, maybe it's one of the Seachem products, whatever. Maybe you have some generic, not so great all-in-one from somewhere, it doesn't matter. It's got the nitrogen, it's got the potassium, it's got the phosphate source, phosphorus source, it's got all your traces in it. It is very true that if you overdose with that stuff, algae will take advantage of it because it's too much nutrition for the plants to use, leaving an excess in your water column. Now algae's very happy, and now it's using, the plant food to battle the plant. So I wanted to touch on that. It's very, very common for people to think, wait a minute. And I'm guilty of thinking of this way too. Humans tend to think, if this much of something is good, then this much of it is excellent. No. We know that's not true with medications, and it's also very much not true with plant nutrition products. Similarly, if this much can cause, and we kind of do the opposite, we kind of flip it on its head sometimes. We use a product or we do something different. Often we do multiple things that are different. We start using a new plant fertilizer and we play with the light cycle. We make it longer or we make it shorter. And then when we get bad results, we often go to the fertilization and say, that's what did it. And we cut it way back or we stop it, and then algae wins every time. So it's very counterintuitive to think, this fertilization product, I accidentally overdosed it. And I've done it before. I have totally overdosed an aquarium. Every time get algae. Every time. Duh. Yeah, it's phosphorus. It contains phosphorus, phosphates, nitrogen. That's fuel for all plants, right? But an excess of it does not help your regular plants. It, in fact, greatly helps algae. What helps your plants and actually hinders algae is proper water column fertilization, making sure that you're running decent light, not too much, not too little, and you're not pushing it too high or too low, just on anything, on nutrition, on any of that stuff. Now, algae. That was the first thing we touched on. In fact, let me walk over here and look at the time. I can't see. They really need to change the YouTube app so you can kind of see the time when you're live streaming. Before we get into part two, actually, as I get into part two, I want to go over here and show you guys these super cute Apistogramma agassizii super red eggs that I got yesterday. The last pair, male and female pair that I had in the shop. Literally, as a customer was coming out to pick them up, they were on hold for them, taken care of and all that. Literally about an hour and a half or so before the customer showed up, they started laying eggs on the glass. They dug like a little pit. I don't know if you guys saw that video from yesterday. They dug a little pit and they laid a bunch of eggs behind the sponge filter. And the eggs are really bright pink. It's quite interesting. Check this out. I don't know if you guys can see. I'll try to zoom way in. What the heck is going on here? There we go. Sorry. Those little eggs all over the place. Many, many, many eggs. Mom went back there and dug out a big old pit and chased the male back there. So yeah, hopefully we're gonna have some, well, not hopefully, I mean, yeah, hopefully. We're gonna have some Apistogramma babies, some super red agassizii. So remember what I said, really chief complaint is I'm getting algae. Algae. Well, that's a bummer. That's for sure a bummer. Let's look at these Borellii. They're cute. That's definitely a bummer. We talked about that enough. Remember what I said, the second biggest complaint, my plants aren't growing. And I told you they are definitely hand in hand linked together. They are absolutely related. My plants aren't growing. Okay, well, are you fertilizing your tank? Are you using some kind of water column fertilization? What kind of substrate do you have? And nearly 100% of the time, the customer is not doing any kind of fertilization at all. And they just didn't know. They just didn't know that, that a lot of aquatic plants, in fact, most aquatic plants prefer to feed from their leaves and stems, and they prefer to feed from the water column as opposed from the roots. So that's kind of what I was getting at when I said they're absolutely linked for sure. The fact that so many people have so many problems with algae and with lack of plants growing, it's gonna always go back to where we were talking about before, nutrition. And to be clear, when I say nutrition, I'm not just talking about water column fertilization, because that's not all that plants need, right? They're plants, they need light. So often, we get a customer coming in and they have a really small, super weak LED light, and it's nowhere near up to the task of supporting, tons of plant growth. And that is why I stand by when I say they're definitely, the two main complaints that I get in here, they're definitely linked. And in fact, they're really different sides of the same problem. Not enough fertilization. Check these guys out. It's Japan blue red-tail albinos. I like that really subtle kind of purple blue sheen that these males get when they move a certain way. It's really pretty. It's not blue, maybe lavender, purple or something. Anyway. Purdy, real purdy. You know what, since we got Jay Oliver in here, I think we still do. Jay Oliver, you still there? Paging Jay Oliver. You can go look at some more guppies I got. They're pretty killer. I know there's a lot of guppy fans. I'm kind of an Apistogramma guy myself. That's what I kind of came over here to look at. These are the Apistogramma kaite. Little teeny tiny guys. Very rare, an extremely rare Apistogramma. And as you can see, they're just super friendly. They're all up in here, man. They're like, what's up? Where are the bloodworms, human? Feed us, oh great and powerful food head. All right. Let's check out some of these platinum Dumbo Mosaic guppies. These are nice. Look at these proud papas and beautiful, glorious mommies. Look at these. I only sell them as pairs. None of my guppies are trios. Please stop asking. I get 200 emails a week about that. Only pairs. Look at these guys. They're pretty. Beautimus. Hey, Jeeps and Things, say hello to my brother, people. Thanks for coming by, bro. I really appreciate it. We're kind of doing just like a dirty stream today. Actually, there's a good friend of mine, Alexander J. Williamson. His channel is The Secret History Living in Your Aquarium. He's well known for his kind of like just do it live and dirty, boom, right from the YouTube app, and kind of doing it Alex style this time, having a good time doing it. It's easy to keep up with everyone's chat while I'm using just the phone. Why only pairs? Why only pairs? Because it's generally what I can get, Kev. Kevin Leung with a question there, why only pairs? Well, because most of my suppliers, yes, Naomi, I'll show some of the tetras and the gouramis, because most of my suppliers, they don't like to do trios or single guppies. It is true. It is true. I don't want to start some controversy. It is true that some fish, when they throw fry or lay eggs or whatever the case is, on some species and some strains, you definitely end up with all male, all female, more female. It just depends. By and large, it averages out over time to close to 50-50. And because of that, my suppliers do not like to sell trios because they always end up sooner or later with males and no female, and no one wants them. It's not good for the business. It's not good for the supplier. It's not good for me. Trios are not good. And they might be good for someone who wants to get guppies in and produce as many fry as possible. And I get that, but I'm sorry, we don't do trios. Buy 2 pair. All right. Let's check out some Gouramis. Now this is a little bit cloudy. You see all these these Gouramis spalota in here? Oh, look at them going up to the top. Come on, let me see if I can get them to come over. I think that they're eating. This is a very close relative to the panda Gaura, but this is the spotted Gaura. They're in here with the golden honey Gourami. Oh, look at that. Naomi, these are for you. Cute little golden honey Gouramis. Easily the most peaceful Gourami I've ever come across. Ever. They don't have a malicious bone in their little cute little faces. Kent's Fish, what up? Hey, I appreciate that, Jay Oliver. Yeah, trios are great. You know, people like trios, and I get it. Some people deal them, but those people are always paying the price with, not always, but often paying the price with a bunch of males. They're like, what am I going to do with these now? Yes, cooler temps can give females. I'm commenting on a comment from Steven. Here's some, look at these. These are the blue Hawaiian Moscows. These are from a good buddy of mine who's actually coming over to visit me right now, Bentley Pasco. Believe he's coming out with another buddy of mine. I actually got three or four people coming out this morning, all YouTube creators. Anyway, these are the blue Hawaiian Moscows. These are absolutely from my buddy Bentley Pasco. Yeah, exactly, Jay Oliver. Always end up with extra males. It's a bummer, man. And this is absolutely the original Luke Roebuck strain. No question about it. That shouldn't be a controversial statement, but some guppy people get crazy and someone tell them, basically what happens is someone tells someone something not true, not correct. And it just proliferates through the hobby. And I'm not picking on guppy people, but I have noticed guppy people are among the worst to just take something that was presented to them and just run with it. Look at that guy. Yes, you're pretty. You don't have to nudge aside your brothers. We're looking at all, yeah? Absolutely. Atkins Nature Aquarium with a comment here. Hey, man, just getting to work. Love those honey gouramis. Super peaceful and fun. Yeah, absolutely, man. Super, super cool. Very, very cool fish. Literally the spiritual opposite of that fish. The green devil barb. No, I'm just kidding. That's a tiger barb. They have a place in every aquarium, but they are very, very aggressive and fin nippy. Approach green tiger barbs with caution, because they can often throw a balanced community aquarium into absolute just mayhem. Check these guys out. Woo! Let's check out some rumblefish. Apistogramma trifasciata. There's a little female here. Come on, focus. Hello, focus. There we go. It's a female closest to the glass there. You notice the yellow? More yellow tones. That's a female. Uh-oh, that's a male that just chased her away. You see that behavior? He's rejecting her. He's not rejecting her, though. He seems to like her. But that other one, there's another one he chased away. Apistogramma trifasciata males. He might be getting aggro on that one. Hey, stop. I'm gonna put you in fishy jail again, bud. You were there yesterday. You wanna go back? Because I'll do it. No, trifasciatas are absolutely very aggressive. The males are very aggressive, and they're very, very choosy about their partners. Often, They'll flare up just like he did to her. See what he's doing? There's several males in there. But he's definitely not being nice. He's not in the mood to be around any females. And what he's trying to do, see, he left that one alone. It looks like he kind of likes her, but not that one. They're very choosy. You see this behavior? I'm glad that I'm catching this live, even though I didn't really mean for this to become a live stream on Apistogramma trifasciata mate rejection behavior. But this is definitely a problem. See this one here? It looks like she might be the one for him. Let's see. He's right here, Mr. Rumblefish. Some cichlids never learn. Exactly. Dude, you females need to go back. You are not being smart. See, he's chasing her away, but not her. I think we found his chosen mate. That's what's going on. So, if you ever get, like, for instance, a male and a female from me, right? Then, and you start seeing that behavior, and the male doesn't let up, he doesn't chill out, and he starts hitting her tail, you better get that female out of there. You better get her out of there quick, because he's rejecting her. They'll start this weird, like a tail wag, like they'll go up in front of them and kind of wag their tail and almost hit them in the face with the tail, whack, whack. That's rejection. That means get away, and then they'll turn around and flare up and chase him. They're telling him, get out. What he's trying to do is drive that undesirable female out so a more desirable female will come in, or so he can chill with his special lady. Whoa, 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 she's a lady. Little impromptu, little Tom Jones ripoff for you there. Come on, man. Get out from behind the stickers, you winch, so I can film you. There you go, I see ya. Yes, I do. Shy girl. Shy gal. Well, we definitely found who the novia of this girl is. Novia means like girlfriend, by the way, for you non-Spanish speaking taps. Yep, if anyone wants a pair, I've got a pretty solid idea that, yeah, I think that, whoa, sorry, too close. Hey, yo, I think we got us a pretty, uh-oh, what is he gonna, coming down. Oh, that male, uh-oh. We might see two males squaring off here. That's a male, and that's a male. Real blue with some yellow to the fins, but the body real blue. Often when they start squaring off, it's interesting. See, they're not hitting the females at all. There's no damage whatsoever to any of their tails. They're not actually connecting. They're herding is what they're doing. They're that tail wag and that run them off. They're trying to get them to go out of the tank to get some hotter gals in there is basically the trifasciata male way of thinking. Anyway, what I was saying is, when that happens, take the female out. Take her out for like 3 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks. Feed her really nice, feed her really well, condition her up, get her, full of eggs. You see her start getting plumper and plumper even after she hasn't just eaten. Then you need to, and I just saw a comment from Aquaballs, Ninjinsen are doing something crazy. Doing something crazy to each other, but I have other fish in with them. So they're fighting, okay. Yeah, Nijsini are known to have that same behavior too there, buddy. Nijsini and the trifasciata, they can do the same behavior. So take the female out, right? Get her out, condition her, feed her real well, and give the male a chance to have no access to any females at all. In fact, when you remove the female, don't just take her out of here and put her here. He can see her. He can still see her. He doesn't want anything to do with her at all. Get her out of sight for like 2-3 weeks, condition her real well, and don't put any other female in there with him at all. Well, I mean, if you have another female, you can put another one and see if he likes her and then form a pair. If you only have one female, one male, get the female out of sight, out of mind. Don't even show him emails from her, right? He's gonna flare up like a crazy person. After 3 weeks, okay, of having no access to females at all, when you put her back in there, put her in his tank, not him in her tank. Never take a male trifash and put him in a tank with a female. The female might freak out on him then. Who's this crazy guy? Why is he in my house? That's bad. Take the female, put her back where she was, and you very well could find that while he might be aggressive at first, he very well may end up being more accepting of her. You're mean, dude. You're mean. You're going to fishy jail today for sure, bud. As soon as I finish here, you wait until your father comes home. All right, guys. I'm gonna walk over here and see what time it is. It might be time to open the shop. It's getting close. I think we're probably gonna wrap it up here pretty soon. I did wanna talk to you guys and just kind of do a little recap. Two of the largest problems that I get. I'm getting algae. What do I do? There's a lot of possible good answers to that. Almost always it's maintain your aquarium. Stop doing a once-a-month water change. That's not enough, especially if you have high light, you have a high plant load. Before I end this, I want you guys to imagine with me for a second. Okay, you guys, everybody knows you found a pond somewhere, right? And a pond, I don't mean like a lake, because lakes are often fed by aquifers and rivers and that sort of dams and all that. I don't mean a lake, I mean a pond, just a little pond. It could be a cow pond, it could be a naturally formed pond in the middle of this secluded little forest that no one knows about and only you know about, right? Imagine this pond for me, with me, the pond that I know all of you guys have seen at one point in your life or another. If you look at the edges of that pond and down in the pond, you are going to see algae. It's going to be algae, algae, algae. Going to be some cyanobacteria in there, filamentous algae, single cellular algae, dust, what we call green dust algae. There's many variants of it. Not all of the single cell algae is green, nor is all of it GDA. There's so many kinds of it. But if you rock on up to a pond and you look in, there's no aquifer feeding it. There's no river feeding it. There is no water change, right, happening in that pond at all. And it's full of algae. Now, walk over to your nearest flowing river or stream, right? And have a look in that river. Sure, there's gonna be some algae growing on rocks here and there. Nothing like you see in that pond. Nothing in the stream if you don't have access to a river, a stream, a flowing stream that has full sunlight. You are not going to see anywhere near the amount of algae that you're going to see in that pond. Why? Water stagnation. Water is just standing in that pond. It's not getting a water change, right? But by definition, streams and rivers are like constantly getting new water taken, added to it, and old water going downstream, wherever it goes, irrelevant, right? You will see far, far, far less algae in that situation. And exactly the same is true of aquariums that you don't change water in, right? The same is true of aquariums that you see where people are like, well, once every 3 weeks, I might do like a 10 or 20%. Sometimes it's once every month and a half, to be honest with you. And I get it, life happens. Sometimes you can't do your water changes. But don't be surprised and don't be miffed if you're not doing your weekly, water changes, depending on the amount of nutrition and power you're running into your aquarium. Don't be surprised or angry if you're not doing that and you get algae, because I'm telling you, it's gonna happen to you. So do your maintenance, please do your water changes, please pay attention to how much light you're pumping into aquariums, right? That's a big one. And remember where we started with all of this, please feed your plants, because that is your best tool to battle algae. Plants are there to absorb that light. Plants are there to absorb those nutrients, put on new tissue, and shade out all those areas that algae loves to grow. I hope this helped you guys. My name's Jason. You've been watching Redfish Bluefish. I'm gonna wrap up here in just a moment. In fact, let me, oh wow, look at that. We got a super chat from Ryan Brian Klemazewski, hey, I really appreciate it. And Brian says, one day I'll order something. Until then, just take my money. Oh, well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and it does help out, Brian. Thanks so much. Let me just do a real quick scan, make sure that I haven't really missed anything. I think that we're kind of good. Yeah, Stephen P. Algae is always looking around the corner waiting for you to stop paying attention. Absolutely. And guess what, man? If you just get yourself a little U-hook, you make it out of PVC pipe, you hook up a hose to it, you put a squeeze bulb on it, whatever you do, please do your water changes. And just once a week. Let me show you what I use in the shop. It's so easy. If I can find where the heck I put everything. I can't find anything in here. Let me get this bucket here, guys. There is no secret to maintenance in here. No secret to maintenance. Time. It takes a full day, day and a half. This is what we use. Our hands and sponges. That is it. Once a week. Get these. This is water with about a half a cup of bleach in it. You just squeeze it out, right? And then you submerge this in fresh water and squeeze it a few times, right? To make sure that there's no residual bleach water in it. And I'm not going to do this because this still has bleach water. I haven't fully rinsed it. You just boop, 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 boop on the inside, all four sides, right? It's that simple. It's that simple. And take some of the water out. Put it back. You're done. It literally takes, on a 20 in here, for me to maintain properly, honestly, a 20-gallon tall, a 20-gallon high if you prefer, even a 30, even a 40, takes me about, well, a 20-gallon with a water change with our system, about 5 minutes. 5 minutes. That's not bad. That's nothing. That's just 5 minutes of your time once a week. And if you maintain it, you feed your plants, don't overfeed, don't underfeed, and if you see a little bit of algae, don't make the classic mistake of saying, no more food for my plants because it's causing algae. No, it's saving you. It's helping you, actually. Just do all those things, and I promise you're going to have more success than you've had if you've been having problems growing plants in aquariums. Thanks so much, guys. I wish you all peace, love, and happy fish keeping. Oh, and before I wrap up, thanks to each and every one of you, and a special thanks to my moderators for showing up, dropping links, and keeping things going. Love you guys. And we'll see you next weekend. Bye-bye.